Hi guys, welcome to Crafting with the Crafty Chick. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to be doing a September craft project, and the first project we're going to be doing is a fall card. The stamp set we are using is the Stampin' Up! Banner Year, and as you can see, the squirrel is one of the main images in our card. We have the squirrel in our background, and we also have some stamped leaves as well. And so here is one of the stamped leaves, and this one also. And the acorn right here is also on here, both on the sentiment piece and inside the liner we have an acorn that is in the very bottom corner. And so this is a really nice versatile set. You've got multiple sentiments that Thanksgiving, for Christmas, Halloween, fall, and I guess who loves you, that's cute. And then you've got a few small images that you can use. The Halloween spiders, spider webs, and use a bat for Halloween, there's pumpkin. Christmas, do a little Christmas hat. So, holly leaves and berries. So a nice all-around versatile stamp set. And this also has a coordinating punch that goes with it. And this is what it looks like. So you get two different styles of banners. I'm going to demo for you today how to use this. And so we're going to learn how to make this shape and to get where this white piece looks like it's nestled with the brown. A lot of times we have dies that nestle inside each other, and so this kind of gives that nestled look with just using the punch. So we're going to demo that today. And I want to tell you that the base for our card is Cajun Craze, and then we're also going to be using crumb cake. And this embossed piece is with the Forever Greenery embossing folder. And I think that's Old Olive. Yes, and this is Old Olive. I will have all the dimensions for you at the end of the video. We're also using Pumpkin Pie, Early Espresso, and then Whisper White. So this is another great way to create your own DSP. Some of us don't want to spend the money on DSP because it can get kind of expensive. So you can use stamps and make your own pattern background. Okay, so we're going to set the sample off to the side. And I'm going to bring in our pieces that we need. And I will read off the dimensions for you as well as post them at the end of the video. And so we have our Cajun Craze base, and this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then our first layer is crumb cake, and the crumb cake is 2 13/16 by 5 1/2. Then we have our Old Olive embossed piece with the Forever Greenery embossing folder. It's really, really pretty. And that piece is 2 1/2 by 5 1/2. And so what we're going to do is we're going to glue our Old Olive embossed piece right onto our crumb cake piece. And you want to make sure that you leave a border, a crumb cake border at the end of your piece, so you have that showing through. So we're going to go ahead and, using your adhesive or your mono glue, we're going to attach these two pieces together. And you want to be careful when you are attaching embossed pieces, because if you push down too hard, you can actually indent your embossed image, and you don't want to do that. The embossing typically will have a raised edge. So we're going to attach this piece down, and you want to leave a border of crumb cake on each side. And so I'm just very carefully, lightly going over without pushing down my embossed image. And then we're going to attach this piece to our card base. I cannot believe it is fall already. Summer just seemed to have flown by. I like fall, but that also means it's closer to winter, which I'm not quite ready for yet, but it's coming. Whether we like it or not, it is coming. Okay, so now I've attached our embossed piece to our card base. I'm going to set this off to the side. And we have our pumpkin pie piece, which is 2 11/16 of an inch by 4. And then this piece is, I don't know if we can see here, Stampin' Up! Has these stitched rectangle dies which have that stitching all the way around. And so I used, I think it's the largest, from the largest one, I think it's the third rectangle down from the largest to make this shape. And so we're going to actually offset. So if you wanted to, you could kind of mat these, although you just get a very, very thin layer of that pumpkin pie showing through. I actually am going to offset mine a little bit. And so before you actually glue your pieces down, you want to kind of eyeball and pre-stage where you're going to lay your pieces out. And so I'm just going to show you my sample card here. Then you're going to take it away and you're going to glue your first piece down. So I'm keeping my finger right here, which tells me that's where my corner goes. And we're going to attach our pumpkin pie piece. If I can turn this over. And that corner about right there. And then when you've got that lined up ready, right where you want, go ahead and secure that piece down. And then you're going to take glue and put it on the back of your stamped piece or your DSP piece. And like I said, totally up to you if you want to mat that or if you want to offset it just a little bit. I wanted to offset to allow more of these fall colors to pop through. Okay, so and this is a really fun, quick, easy card to make multiples of, or a great way to use up your scraps if you have a lot of scrap pieces. And so now I'm going to take our early espresso banner piece with our stamp sentiment piece. This sentiment, thanks for being you. Trying to get the camera to focus here, bear with me. There we go. That sentiment is actually from Stampin' Up! Free as a Bird stamp set. And so it's this one right here, thanks for being you. And you're going to glue your sentiment piece onto your early espresso piece. We're going to do that now. One of the things I love about when the weather turns colder, hopefully all of your outside chores have been done and you start spending some more time indoors. And one of the things I love about that is it gives me more crafting time, which I love. We can never have too much crafting time, right? Tell me I'm not the only one. Okay, and then we're going to take our dimensionals. By the way, real quick while I think of it, our dimensional packaging, if you guys have these, do not throw away the clear cellophane bag that our dimensionals come in. There is a upcoming project that I'm going to create a project to show you guys how to reuse your dimensional packaging. The paper piece insert we won't need, but the bag. So hold on to these if you guys have them. Okay, so we're going to put 1, 2, 3 dimensionals on the back. of our banner piece. This is a really quick project to put together. It takes no time. Probably the most time-consuming part is the stamping, only because you have multiple colors. Like we use cherry cobbler, crumb cake, old olive, and early espresso. But having multiple stamp images on your blocks and then all of your different color ink pads right in front of you, and so you're just alternating. I would recommend you to do like one stamp at a time. Like I did the squirrels first, and then I would, okay, let's do the crumb cake. You could do that, or you can just a squirrel here, a leaf here, however you want to do it. And I'm trying to get the very tip of where this arrow, and I try to get it kind of close to the base of the card as much as I possibly can. And be mindful of where kind of stage and figure out where you want to place your sentiment. Like I don't want to cover up my squirrel here, so I'm actually going to come a little further down and then secure that down when you have it where you want it. And then for inside, we have our liner, and this is Whisper White, 4 inches by 5 1/4, and the acorn was stamped in early espresso. And also, if you wanted to, if you have a crumb cake marker or a crumb cake Stampin' Up! Blend, you could color the top of that acorn if you wanted to get like a light tan crumb cake color. I just wanted to leave mine plain for this project. We're going to attach our liner to the inside of our card. Okay, and there we have our card sample. Just a fun card, just fun to tell somebody, you know, hey, thank you for what you do, thanks for being you. It's just nice, a reminder to get fun cards like these with such a simple message. Okay, now I'm going to demo to show you guys how to get these banners with this punch. And the nice thing with these is that you have 3 different size options that you can use on both of these types of banners. Okay, so we have our early espresso piece. This is just a scrap piece that I had in my paper bag. And so I'm going to, you can do either one, but because we use this one on our card, I'm going to show you how to do that. And so you're going to just take this in to the biggest. So I'm going to try to explain this. And take my pen here. So you have this size here. That is one size. And I want to say it's 1/2 inch. Don't quote me. And then you have the next size here where you've got like a step up. And then another size. And that one is, let me see here. I think it's 1 inch. So this top piece, which is where we're going to go, is 1 inch. So your paper strip needs to be 1 inch for you to slide that in. So then the next one down should be 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch. Again, don't quote me, but I think that's what it is. And so now you're going to take your scrap paper, your 1 inch piece of early espresso, and you're going to just slide it in, and you keep going until it stops. You can't go anymore. And you want to make sure that you're straight and lined up, and then when you're ready, you just punch. And so now you end up with that. And so how I did it for this card was I just kind of measured, like I need to go and cut my paper to about here. And you want to remember that your punch, this goes in quite a bit, and you're going to be taking off excess. So just to show you today, and this is something that if you guys have this or want to experiment, you want to give this a few tries and play with it a few times just so you really get a handle on it. I'm going to do that. And so now, okay, so as you guys can see here, I ended up with a sliver of early espresso. And that tells me the reason for that is I was not completely straight in. So another thing you can do is you can turn it upside down. So I'm just going to slide this in here. I want to make sure I'm straight. And see, I'm not all the way up to the edge. And so now I am perfectly in. And I'm going to go ahead and give it another punch. There we go. That's more like it. So if, for example, you want to recreate this exact size, so this tells me now I need to actually cut this down. And I'm just eyeballing here. It's not precise. And I'm going to take this and go back in one more time. And you can turn it upside down just to make sure that you are all the way up. I don't know if you guys can see. Here's like the punch. And then right here is where the early espresso starts. And I'm going to go ahead and give that another punch. And here's something cool. You could take 2 of these. These are your leftover pieces. And if you butt them up like this, you actually can make like a little bow tie. And you just kind of glue those on top of one another. Just FYI. So you can reuse those. Okay, so now we're going to take this piece out and we're getting closer to the size. And see, I could go in just a little bit more, but we're going to call that good because it's close enough. Okay, so we're going to set that off to the side. And you do the exact same thing with the Whisper White piece. Now, what I would recommend is you actually stamp your sentiment or whatever you want to put on your white piece before you punch it. That way you can gauge how far down you need to go for your punches. So we're going to do the same thing now. We are going down to the next one. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see here. So with the brown, we actually covered this first set of tracks. And with the white, we're actually covering the second one. So we're going to do the same thing. You want to make sure that you're straight. And you keep feeding your paper in until it stops. So you're going to feel that resistance. And you just punch. And so as you can see, it's going to be just give you that nestled look. And then you're going to do the same thing on this end. Now I will tell you we will have to cut some of this one down. Because as you can see, it's quite long. And see, it's still long. And so you just cut off. And again, you can just eyeball and kind of gauge how far you need to go. We're getting closer here. Okay, we're very, very close. So I still need to take just a little bit more off. Okay, we've got it. And so now you've got your Whisper White piece. And so that gives kind of a nestled look. You could do the exact same technique on the other side of the punch with the, I think they're called flag banners. And you can do the exact same thing on that one. Okay, so this is called the Banners Pick-a-Punch. And you can purchase this separately, or you can get it with the Banner Year stamp set. It comes together as a bundle. But you could do a lot with these. You can also use them to make tags. So, like if you have, I don't have another piece of scrap white, but let's say this is a Whisper White piece. You could cut it off of here, poke a hole here, and you've got a tag. You write to and from, or write somebody's name. Or stamp a small itty bitty sentiment. So this is a pretty fun punch to play with. I'm sure we'll be creating more projects with this one in the future. Okay, so as promised, I will give the dimensions. I think I already gave them all. But, so for our, and this is a Crafty Chick original. You know, I always, if it's a Crafty Chick idea that we are not casing, I always write Crafty Chick original. If we are casing a project from somebody, I always give credit to who the creator is. And so our Cajun Craze base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And layer 1 crumb cake, which is 2 13/16 by 5.5. Layer 2 old olive, which is 2.5 by 5.5. And that piece is embossed with the greenery embossing folder. Layer 3 is pumpkin pie, which is 2 11/16 by 4 inches. Layer 4, which is Whisper White. This is our DSP piece that we stamped to make our own DSP, and that's cut out with the stitched rectangle dies. And then the bundle that we used was the banner year. And the ink colors that I used were Cajun Craze, Old Olive, Crumb Cake, Pumpkin Pie, Early Espresso. The sentiment, the thanks for being you, is from Free as a Bird. Okay, so here is a banner punch strip tip. So we used Early Espresso 1-inch strip, and you punch one end. Now here's another thing, I forgot about this. So you can punch one end of your piece. I'm actually going to show you guys. So we're going to get this punch back out again and unlock it. Okay, so let me verify this is a 1-inch strip. Okay, so this is a 1-inch Early Espresso. And so you're going to put it in. Remember to line it up in your track. And you go all the way up until you get that resistance. Punch. And so we have our arrow tip, as I like to call it. And then what you can do is, hold on, I got to grab my paper trimmer. Okay, so where we have the tip of our arrow, we're going to line that tip up to 3 1/8 inch. So just the tip of your arrow, a 3 1/8 inch, and you're going to trim off the opposite end. So you're just going to cut that off. And so you have that piece that you can just set aside. Now we're going to take this end and we're going to put it in our punch, go all the way up and punch. Voila, look at that. Let's see here. Check that out, you guys, the exact size. How cool is that? And again, that is just for the size to fit this card, but you could do that with any. If you want to make it longer, your measurement's going to be different depending on what size, how long you want your strip piece to be. So, FYI, something to keep in mind. Okay, so I think that is everything for the Banner Year fall card. And that is it. Oh, one more thing. The Whisper White piece is 3/4 inch strip, and you line it up at 2 3/4. So just like we did with this piece, you're going to do the same thing with your white. Is you're going to put it in your punch, and then you're going to take the tip of your arrow and line that up at 2 3/4 on your paper trimmer. So we're going to pretend this piece is longer, and so I'm lining this tip of my arrow to my 2 3/4 mark, and so whatever is left of your paper, you're actually just going to cut that off. And then this end would be, you put it in your punch, and then that way it lines up with this size to give that nestled look. Okay, so that is Crafty Chick tip of the day on the banner punch. So here is the sample of our fall card. So I'm going to tell you, send somebody a card today. Let them know you're thinking of them, or this is a great way to just tell somebody, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for, something special about that person. Send somebody a card today, or as I like to say, send somebody a smile today. So this is project number 1, and projects 1, 2, and 3 are, 2, 3, and 4 are to follow. And then at the end of the 4th video, I will give you a sneak peek of the next 2 projects that we will be doing for the month of October. And then as it gets closer to Christmas, we will be doing more Christmas-themed projects. Okay, thank you so much for crafting with the Crafty Chick today. I love you. Bye-bye.